Hello and welcome, it's time to mod again. Today the MP-153 shotgun and the MP-153. So back to the workbench, grab your screwdriver. Now we only need our screwdriver today. So what is actually desirable for a shotgun? Of course, first off, the ergonomics. This influences the ADS time, which we can boost by almost a whole second. And this really makes a difference. Then for the MP-153, we also want to lower the recoil. For the MP-153, that doesn't matter. Then there's also a bonus to it that will get us the weapon back way more often by insurance. More on that later in the video. So the first option we have is to use the plastic pistol grip. This thing gives us 5 ergonomics but absolutely crushes the recoil, so I would never advise to use it. Instead we go for the stock adapter tool. This allows us to mount a pretty heavy grip, on which we can then mount the buffer defense tube, which allows us to choose from a whole set of stocks. Now depending on how much it currently costs on the flea market and if you have access to it, I would recommend the GLR16S. If you don't have access to it, the best alternative is the DS150. Both give a decent amount of ergonomics, but the DS150 is even better at lowering the recoil. Then for magazines, you just want to use the biggest one you have available. At Jaeger level 1, that's the 6 rounds magazine. Then turn the weapon slightly because it's just too big for the screen. And in terms of muzzle devices, there are a whole set of things we can attach to it. But in terms of cost efficiency, the best one you can mount is probably the GK2, which you can attach if you use the cylinder adapter, which together cost only 6,000 rubles, while most silencers start with 40 or 60,000 rubles. Now if you want the scope, there are 2 ways to mount one in the front and one in the back. Now for the back one, it seems that the attachment is not available and usually it's also not on the flea market. What you have to do is remove the exclude barter filter. Then you see that at Jaeger level 1 he actually trades it. Now which scope you use, if you use one at all, I find the iron sight pretty practical. Depends on your preferences. Here is the difference on what they look like. Just again, don't use sniper scopes on the shotgun. You won't see anything through it. Now if we assemble all the parts, you can see that we land around 20,000 for all attachments, which seems a lot for what we get, but now comes the bonus. Because as you can see, the weapon doubles in space. Now it doesn't fit in most backpacks to start with, but if somebody has a Pilgrim or I don't know, there is no way he's gonna pick this weapon. It takes so much space. And even if you look at what we can do to lower the size, there's nothing you can actually do. Yeah, you can remove the front or the stock, but it doesn't decrease the size of the weapon. So you will get it back via insurance almost all the time because nobody's gonna use his second weapon slot for a weapon like this. With the MP-153 it's basically the same, so the stock build I would recommend to use the same, but we have the option to use another handguard in front. The thing is, if you don't have access via traders, it's usually pretty expensive. And it also doesn't offer that much as a bonus, because spending 25,000 for 6 more ergonomics isn't really worth it, so you can skip it. Also you don't need the attachments for the barrel because, of course, a pump action shotgun recoil doesn't matter. And the same benefit with the size applies here. The shotgun gets way bigger and nobody's gonna fill half his backpack with an MP-153 shotgun, so you get it back with your insurance very often. Which makes it perfect as a budget gun with some flechette or flechette for stash runs. Especially since you don't need a rig for the reserve ammunition. And of course, if you want to use any tactical devices, you can mount it via a sprut, or however that's pronounced. But I assume you already know that, so yeah. And that's already it. There's not much to talk about the MP shotgun in terms of modding here, but the whole size thing was a neat little trick that I wanted to share with you. So if you liked the video, then of course smash like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you all next video guys. Bye bye!